prior, they had a chain across the Hudson River in upstate New York, just below where West Point is located at today. At this location, the cliffs are very high on either side of the river. North of this site, the Americans control. South, the British control. What was going on? The Americans had said could not put cannon on top of the cliffs because they could not elevate enough to fire into the river. So they had gotten the blacksmiths to make them a chain that would stretch across the river that they could be stout enough to stop a British man of war under full sail and literally rip the bottom out of it. The British knew the chain was there and did not attempt to break it and try to take it out. In the fall of 1779, the river froze before they got the chain out, and they lost the chain. They went to the blacksmiths in upstate New York and they said, we've got to have a new chain. It needs to be 420 feet long. Each link is to be 1 inch in diameter and 30 feet long. Now, to give you an idea, I stand a little over 6 foot tall. I can reach about 8 foot. About the top of that pair of tongs is 10 foot. That would have been one length of chain made out of 1 inch round stock. Now, a lot of people say, well, okay, that's no big deal. Yes, it was. It could not go down to the local metal store and pick up a 30-foot piece of 1 inch round stock, bend it, electrically weld it, and go on to the next one. They literally had to round up enough metal to make each link individually, weld it from several other pieces of metal until they had enough metal to make the chain link. They had 3 links in a swivel, 3 links in a swivel, so that the river current didn't twist the chain apart. At this time, blacksmiths did not use coal such as what I'm using. They used charcoal. They had men that go out in the woods that would cut trees down and burn them and make it, pile it up, and make it into charcoal. That's what they burnt at the forges. In the 4 months, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week that these blacksmiths worked, men were cutting and burning an average of 4 acres of wood a day just to make charcoal, to build the fires, to make all this. Quite a bit of work went into it. At the end of 4 months, they had the chain complete. They took it down to the river. When I first read this story, I thought, yeah, they don't have motorboats, they don't have a crane. Now how are they going to get this 420-foot chain? Each link is going to weigh more than most one person can pick up. And they're going to get it across the river. Well, they were a lot smarter than I give them credit. They tied logs to them and floated it across the river. The British found out about it, still scared to bring their ships upriver, so they were able to keep the British at bay. Several years later, Benedict Arnold told the British where the chain was, and they went back and knocked the chain out. The British went upstream. By this time, Washington was able to take his forces and move on, and the British didn't catch him unawares. But if you kind of think about it, blacksmiths helped defeat the British in upstate New York for at least one time. And if you want to see any of this chain link, if you go to West Point, they have 9 links and 3 swivels of this chain on display on the parade ground at West Point.